Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. I'm Eoin Devereux here today. I thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time to spend with us. I'm joined this week by Kira Paterson. Kira, good to have you here.
Always good to be here, kind of.
Don't lie to the viewers, Kira.
Sorry.
You'd much rather be at your desk.
Listening to you through the wall when you're ranting about your stories and all that kind of thing, yeah.
I'm going to keep calm this week.
Sure you are.
And now I'm lying to the viewers. But once again, thank you very much for tuning in. We got a bit to talk about this week. And it's going to be focused very much on one specific topic. This week's front page of the Neepawa Banner Press, we got a little more creative than usual with our setup. We have to thank Diane Warner for that. I sort of came up with the concept, the idea of what I was thinking of, but I couldn't sort of put it on the page. Diane is the type that's able to take just general snippets of ideas and turn it into something that looks functional. So very appreciative of Diane for putting the work in on that. I wish it could have been something a little more positive that we put our creative juices into, but it's the fact of the reality. All of Manitoba now stands in code red due to the situation, the escalating situation with COVID-19. Kira, let me throw to you your thoughts first off, just on the front page and just on the situation in general.
About this front page, I really like the setup. It was really, really good. But one thing I kind of wanted to mention, and maybe it makes us sound like cynical, terrible people, but we didn't have anything for the front page coming in on Tuesday morning. We were like, what are we going to put on the front page? And then Ken said, oh, there's going to be a press conference at 10:30 with Roosin and Pallister. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll have to save the front page for whatever that announcement is. Maybe it's going to be something big. And unfortunately, it was. And it kind of helped us in a way because it gave us something important to put on the front page. But it's not something we want to celebrate. It's not something we ever want to be happy about. No. But it was kind of worked out in our favor, but in a bad way.
Kira makes a good point. And yeah, definitely. These are the types of things that maybe you won't see on the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press, and you wouldn't even know about if you didn't watch this show. But going into Monday, we had a solid 16-page paper in terms of content. We decided to go with 20, and it would have been a loose paper. There would have been a lot more filler in a 20 up until Tuesday. But this came down. Very unfortunately, it came down. It helped us in the moment, but in the long run, it's going to be a real pain. We're forced now to take our medicine. This is us having to deal with the circumstances that we haven't dealt with. I mean, and when I say we, I mean collectively as a province. I feel like Prairie Mountain, for the most part, ever since they had that orange a couple months ago for a period where we had to deal with some restricted situations, since then we've been walking the straight and narrow path, I thought. And the numbers seem to lay that out. But when you look at the COVID numbers on a daily basis in Winnipeg and now in Southern Health, right, if you're unfamiliar with the Prairie, the regions in terms of medical facilities, Southern Health spans from the edge of Gladstone down to Portage-la Prairie through Winkler, Morden, Altona, Steinbach. It's that entire area. And their numbers are really getting out of control right now. So that was a big part, I think, as well, of the reasoning for the province as a whole being put into lockdown. Let's not mince words. This sucks. This really sucks that we're going to have to go through this, but it's the reality of the situation. And if we all pull together, do what's required, put on your masks, only go out when you need to, we'll get through this. There's a reason we're here. We're deemed essential services. Believe it or not, somehow we're essential.
I don't know how that happened, but
we're as genuinely surprised about that as you are. But we are essential services. That's why we are here. Same thing, the representatives with NACTV deemed essential services. So they're out there. They're still doing the work. They're still doing the job, and they're still doing it in a safe manner, as safely as possible. So if you're an essential service, if you're out there still putting in the work, thank you very much. It's very appreciated. If you have to be at home right now, just, we'll get through this. I know it's stressful. I know we're all a little frustrated. We're all a little scared. We're all a little angry. I'm a little hungry. We'll find a way to get through this. I'm sort of going off right now. Is there anything you want to chime in on in terms of what we're going through, Kira?
No, I agree. I think it kind of, looking at the province as a whole, I do think that it is necessary, and I do think that, yes, it is going to be difficult, but I just want to say, obviously, thank you to the people that are essential services, but thank you in advance to the people who aren't and who are going to make an effort to stay at home and reduce their contacts and do whatever they can and do their part as well in this prevention of an overload in the hospitals, because the numbers in the hospitals are really what they're trying to keep low, and they are starting to climb, and that's what is worrying the province, and that is kind of why the province has put this into effect, because obviously we don't want our healthcare system overrun like some areas in other countries have been.
Yep. And if you want to find out more, you can read it. It's on page 1, obviously, of this week's edition of the Neepawa Press. Some more specific details are also available, continued on page 15. It lays out exactly what is and what isn't closed. It lays out exactly how things can move forward for the next at least 2 weeks, but
more likely 4 weeks, I would say. But
yeah, let's not kid ourselves here. Most likely the next month. This is our life. This is what we are dealing with, and we're going to have to deal with it. So I wish there were a more fun story on the front page, and we'll get back to fun stories on the front page someday. But this is what we all need to know and we all need to deal with right now. And we got to deal with it in our next story that we're going to be talking about as well. A couple stories actually on page 2. Both of these were done before the code red for the collective province was announced. So they're going to sort of read slightly differently maybe on that. First off, 2 additional COVID cases have been confirmed in the Prairie Mountain region and specifically the Neepawa area. One at HMK.
No, it was
sorry, Neepawa Middle School. A new one at Neepawa Middle School and at Twilight Colony School. Previous cases had been confirmed at HMK and NACI. Mm-hmm. So we got 4 cases, 3 cases confirmed for sure in Neepawa, 1 near Neepawa. It's the reality of the situation. It is going to happen. But we were able to talk to the school division. They've done everything in their power to keep everything at a minimum. So you can check that out on page 2. And it carries over as well to a story that Kira wrote, mm-hmm. That we had been working on before the announcement, as I said, in terms of what they're doing for bus safety with the students.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Jason Young, the superintendent, because we're just constantly talking to him. Like, oh, there's a case in this school, talk to Jason. Oh, there's a case in this school, oh, talk to Jason. And now it's like, oh, well, let's talk about bus safety. Oh, talk to Jason as well.
But the thing is, though, the rules are, we call the principals, we call other representatives first, but the way the rules are set up, no, you've got to go through the division. Yeah. You've got to talk to Jason.
Yeah,
and again,
direct us.
They just do that so that the information, they know the information. There's no hearsay.
And it's consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's their rules. They don't want any of the teachers kind of spreading rumors or anything like that, or getting in trouble for something that they say that wasn't necessarily the division's perspective, something like that, right? So they just direct anybody who has any questions, just go to the school division, go to the superintendent. Yep. And so he's getting hounded a little bit, but he's doing an amazing job. He gets back in such good time. We really appreciate Jason for that. But yeah, back to school bus safety. Diane kind of had the idea to ask about what they're doing in our area for school bus COVID-19 protocols, because she had talked to somebody who was kind of further east, I believe, near Portage area, that their school bus drivers had to do their route, and then even if their route ended close to their house, they would have to go back to the school, and the school janitors would have to clean the buses. So they thought that's kind of weird way to do it. Diane thought, oh, let's see what Neepawa is doing. So I contacted Jason, and he said that it's kind of a team effort for the school bus safety. A lot of sanitization. The bus drivers are sanitizing, the janitors are sanitizing, the maintenance people are sanitizing when the buses go in for maintenance. So they're constantly being cleaned. And then also they've done other things like contact parents and see if they happen to have work that is around the same time as when your kid needs to be dropped off in that same town, then see if you can give your kid a ride rather than sending them on the bus. So they had about 30 families choose or were able to make that accommodation and drive their own kids, but most of the kids that were on buses are still on buses. But they're doing a good job of rearranging the schedule and staggering the times when they arrive and making sure all of the kids are one to a seat unless they're in the same cohort or in the same family. So yeah, there's quite a few different levels of protection, and we just wanted to kind of point that out because obviously we talk about every time there's a case in a school, they talk about all the sanitization and all of the cohorts and all of the separation there is within the school. But the school buses aren't necessarily something you think about, but it is a rather somewhat extended period of time that a kid will be on the bus depending on where they live. And so it is an important place to be safe as well. So yeah, we definitely wanted to spotlight that and show all of the efforts that are being made in every aspect at the schools to keep the kids safe.
Yep, that's a big part of page 2. You can read about that. You can inform yourself because it's one of those things that, you don't sort of think about until it's sort of brought up, and it was like, oh yeah, that is interesting. What are they doing about that? So we're very glad to be able to inform you on that situation as best we can. All right, so let's shift over to Random Opinion with Ken Waddell. His column right in the center, a weekly column that he does. He talks about all sorts of situations. He's focused a lot as of late on the what we're dealing with COVID-19, or C-19 as he likes to say. Get to the point. You know what he's talking about when he abbreviates it. This week, it's a slightly different perspective on that, because he talks about dealing with people in the care homes, who's in charge of the situation, how it all seems to structurally play out, and he breaks that down very well, I thought. And I don't think I'd do it very good justice, but he digs deep into finding out who's in charge of this. Rivera Care Homes is part of it, and he delves into what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're structured. He actually talks about one other item in there that a lot of places are doing this thing, and High Life is one of them, using something called a nasal photo disinfection on its employees. There have been no cases of COVID in High Life, 0 confirmed cases as of recording here right now. And they could possibly attribute it to this technology. And if you don't know what it is, maybe you've seen it. There's pictures of it that are out there on the interweb, the net, as it were.
The World Wide Web.
Yep. Where you stick these two things up your nose and your nose turns red because of the lights or something like that. And there's a lot of organizations that are doing something like that with their employees. I first heard about it from the Steinbach Pistons of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. Their players every Monday were doing it. And as far as I know, there were no cases there. So, but it was an interesting piece of technology, and Ken talks a little bit about it. He puts a link in there as well where you can actually see some of the things that they're going on with that. Kira, what do you want to add to the conversation here?
Not a lot. I read it, but I don't have, he goes pretty in depth about a few different things, and it pretty much explains itself in the article, so I don't have too much to add. And in general. It's an opinion piece. I don't want to stamp on Ken's opinion. Not that I have anything against it. I don't think. It's been a while since I've read the story, to be honest.
Ken's opinion pieces usually have opinion in them.
Yep.
But true. This one, he's dropping a lot of knowledge. And again, not to say that his opinion isn't knowledgeable. It is. You might not agree with it, but he brings content with him into his opinions. And this one, he's just really dropping some information, some background that I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can check that out, as always, on page 4 of our latest edition of the Banner and Press. Thank goodness we get to slightly shift away from COVID-19 now and talk about something a little bit more fun and talk about the Roxy Theatre and their new marquee. It's something that if you live in Neepawa, you've seen the work that's been going on and you've been looking forward to sort of seeing the end product, and now you can. You can find that on page 12. I don't know if we're going to find it. Here's a quick look at it. You're going to have to pick up a hard copy, though, to get a better look at the brand new, spanking new, shiny marquee. Looks tremendous, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they put those pictures up on their social media, and then they sent them to us as well to put in the paper.
Yep.
But when I first saw it on social media, I thought, oh, that looks so nice. It looks so good. Like, they rewired, they put new lights, they repainted, they did the whole front of the building brand spanking new. It's like minty fresh white now. It's beautiful. And then the marquee, they redid the signage, which they made it look exactly like the original, just not with paint peeling and all that kind of thing. And they fixed up the softening, I believe it's called, underneath.
Yep.
And because that was kind of, it had a little bit of water damage, it was kind of rotting away a little bit. So it just looks brand spanking new, but it still has that retro look of what it looked like whenever that marquee was originally put in place. It's just a tremendous job, and I was so glad that we got to put a few, we had enough space for a few pictures from a few different angles, and the pictures were taken kind of at dusk-ish, so there you can see the lights. It just looks great. I'm just really excited about it.
Very appreciative of that, and it's those little things when it comes to small towns that people are doing that really make the small town something special. Don't take the Roxy for granted. I mean, once we can actually go out and do things again, hopefully you'll go out and see a movie there, because it's a really nice experience. The interior has always looked amazing, and now the exterior is on par. Yep. All right, so from movies to television, more specifically NACTV, who recently held their annual general meeting. Obviously, with some restrictions, it couldn't be in general open to the public. There was opportunity for people to be involved via Zoom conference, so there was that. And it's a shame almost that it wasn't able to be open to the public, because this year was really a good news AGM for NACTV. They really are moving in the right direction. Their margins are looking quite healthy. Their fiscal year this year, they are going to end up with posting a profit of $37,634.08.
Oh, that 8 cents, wow.
Yep, that makes all the difference in the world. But again, when you look at previous years, there have been years where they've lost money. So, you know, plus 8 cents is better than minus 8 cents in the grand scheme of things. But it's more than 8 cents.
Yeah.
And it's because of some of the work, not just that the board is doing, not that the management is doing, but the collective, the employees, the volunteers, everybody coming together, seeing the value of what NACTV is to Neepawa and surrounding area. Part of it has to do with some new revenue streams they looked at a couple years ago in terms of royalties. NACTV gets paid a certain amount of royalties, between $7 and $8, I believe, an hour for locally produced content. So for some reason, this, for example, they're getting paid $7 to $8 an hour to listen to us mumble about things.
And we don't even get any of that cut.
Well, we're volunteers,
Oh,
so,
sure.
we're doing our part.
You're welcome, NACTV.
But no, it's great to see, because NACTV is one of those things, much like the Roxy Theatre, as we said, that share and enhance a community. not every community has access television anymore. It's a dying breed. So hopefully you'll check out that article. I talked to Dave Bennett about it. He shares some of the details. The bigger bingo as well. It has improved. Things are looking up, and hopefully they will continue for years to come. All right. One other item that I wrote up this week is about town council. Last couple town council meetings, I'm going to admit, have been boring, but boring in a good way. Just you don't want too much bad news going on, and they've still been doing their process of what needs to be done to run a community. So it was a short meeting that occurred in early November. The most pressing item that was talked about was during one of the councillor updates, and the talk of the handy van usage in Neepawa. It is down significantly this year. And with the situation with COVID-19, that is to be expected. I mean, this time last year, there was, let me see here, services last year, 9,727 usage of the handy van for this point. And this year it's down to 2,481, like almost just over 70% down. Obviously with the situation with COVID-19, that's a big part of it. And there have been sort of groups and businesses in and around Neepawa that have been helping make up the difference, because that's going to cost them a lot of money in the long run. So you can check that story on page 19. And I'll be honest with you, the rest of the council meeting, kind of boring, kind of just, dotting I's, crossing T's. But these are the little boring things that need to be done at council in order to keep a community running efficiently. Sometimes you need to take your medicine. And this is your medicine story, all right? There's no glitz, there's no glamour, there's no pizzazz.
Is it at least cherry flavored medicine?
No, not even. Oh. No, it's plain medicine flavored.
Yeah, Buckley's type.
But it's the type of stuff that you should inform yourself on. The day-to-day operations are boring, but they're still important. They're very important. The municipal leaders and municipal administration putting in that effort behind the scenes. So you can see that's on page 19. We do have a little bit of time, and I want to talk here about one story I forgot to put on our list. It was about the medical lottery. Yeah. They handed out the big check, $100,000, to a father-daughter duo from Neepawa. Always great to see that money stay local. And got to congratulate them on that. Now that is on page 9 of this week's edition. We talked last week about the 50-50 winner. This week the winners, $100,000, Ashton Porrick and Dennis Tiller, I believe, both still residing in Neepawa. So congratulations to them. Anything else you want to add to that, Kira?
No, I just think that's really exciting. I know that it's really nice that they have supporters from all over Manitoba, but when you can see somebody that people in town know win that $100,000, it's always more exciting and potentially generates even more interest in next year's from local people. And maybe it'll generate some spending within the local businesses too from that $100,000. So it's pretty exciting when a local person wins, and it's exciting when people win who've been buying for a number of years, people that have supported over the years. And these guys have been purchasing. They purchased more than one. I think the 50-50 winner, I think it was her first time getting a ticket, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it's so exciting for a person to buy for the first time and win on their first try. That's so exciting. But for everyone else, it's like, oh, I've been buying these tickets for so many years and I can't win. This person does it on their first try, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice when somebody who's been a longtime supporter of the project does win as well. And
that person was Joyce Mott of Brandon. You may recognize the name. It was in the story we wrote about the lottery in last week's edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. Congratulations, $57,555. That's not bad. I could think of a couple things I'd spend that money on. Quite honestly, the first one would be bills, though. That's not glamorous, that's not exciting, but we can't vacation right now, really, so what else are you going to spend it on?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting when you have no bills to pay, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you got no bills to pay. What would you spend it on?
Yeah. I don't know, but I wouldn't share.
Gee, thanks,
You're
Kira.
welcome.
Actually, let's talk about what else is on that page, page 9. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation's 25 Days of Giving draw wrapped up.
Yeah. Throughout this year, I want to say it started, maybe it started right at the beginning of the year. I can't remember for sure. But throughout this year, it is the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation's 25th anniversary. So they've been celebrating with a few different things, and one of those things is the 25 Days of Giving draw. So they did 25 draws. They had different prize amounts, and all of these organizations that applied to be in the ballot, in the draw box, I guess. And it didn't cost them anything to enter or anything like that. But so all of these organizations, there were 25 organizations drawn and 25 prize amounts that were between, I believe, 500 was the lowest and 5,000 was the top one. Actually, there might have been 100. That might be the lowest. I can't remember for sure. But the top one was 5,000. There was only one prize of 5,000. And every week we kept building the suspense because we kept thinking, oh, is it going to be 5,000 this week? Is it going to be 5,000? And it ended up being the second last draw that won $5,000.
Couldn't have worked out better.
No, it was great. So yeah, definitely check that out on the same page, page 9. You can see who the last 3 winners were because they did 3 draws this week to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Just so that they didn't have to worry about meeting under all these restrictions and that kind of a thing as well. So.
Yeah. No, that was great. It was wonderful to see. There's a few other items we have in this week's paper that we didn't talk about. The center spread, talking about the 25th anniversary. You can see that from Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. Sports. This is your last chance to read about sports this week on page 13, since Code Red has shut everything down effectively. So we're going to have to deal with that now. That's this week's paper. I want to very quickly, though, talk about one thing from last week's paper. Just throw this out there. I want to thank everyone online, especially, who commented on my editorial last week, because it, for some inexplicable reason, blew up. We post all these things online, and my editorial last week about the 5 to 7% of people out there who are complete morons when it comes to COVID-19, some people took that to heart, and maybe it struck a nerve with them. Maybe they knew they were the 5 to 7%, because some of the comments were very interesting. And for a couple of you out there who say you will never read the Neepawa Banner and Press ever again because of what I wrote, I thank you very much for your support and your disagreement on my column. There were a fair number of people who actually did agree, and that's the thing. The worst thing you can have about an opinion piece is nobody care. Have no opinion on it. Whether you hate it, and some of you did, or whether you enjoyed it or liked it immensely, and some of you did, have an opinion on it. That's the thing. So even the people who went off on me online about it, I don't take that stuff personally. I'd take it personally if nobody reacted at all. Because that's what this is about getting a reaction, whether positive or negative, to make you think, to make you potentially act. So if you haven't seen it, you can check it out. Some of it is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it is. I also wanted to mention something along that line as well. We did see quite a bit of discussion online, but we would love to get letters. We had 0 letters, excuse me, in this week's paper at all. And we had 1 thumbs up, but we love to get some things submitted to the paper in print as well. So send us a letter if you don't agree with Eoin's column or with Ken's column, or if you do agree and support there and have more information to add, send us a letter or send us a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Leonard Paramore shouldn't have to do all the work.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to throw that in there as well. If you want to see something, check it out on Facebook. So that's it for this week. We thank you, as always, for taking a little bit of your time to spend with us. Kira, thank you for sitting in on the couch and sharing some of the stories you wrote as well.
Yep.
Now, if you have any story ideas, we would love them. You can give us a call at 476-3401, or you can contact us at news@neepawabanner.com. If you have ads, you can contact us at creative@neepawabanner.com or at ads@neepawabanner.com. We love that type of interaction. we appreciate it very much. Any little bit that you can do, sharing your stories, sharing your lives with us, would be great. So once again, for Kira Paterson, I'm Eoin Devereux. Thank you for tuning in to the Story Behind the Stories.